So both the prosecution and the defense have rested their cases in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, with closing arguments set to begin on Monday. Joining me now is former prosecutor and former attorney for George Zimmerman in the defense in the Trayvon Martin case, Mark O'Mara, and assistant professor of law at Case Western Reserve University, Ayesha Bell Hardaway. I just wonder, first off, Ayesha, what you thought in this Rittenhouse case of the mom going on Fox News, going on Hannity, and what you heard from her.
So it's really clear that this mom is comfortable in this courtroom, that the judge's efforts to hold court, if you will, in the way that he has throughout this trial, has reassured her in many ways that her son is going to get what she deems to be a fair trial. And of course, I think that equates to an acquittal here. And so those conversations that she's been having with those particular jurists, I think just reinforce for us how in many ways polarized this trial has been.
You know, Mark, looking at what legal experts are saying here, even if maybe they want to say that Kyle Rittenhouse really appears to have a lot of blame here, they say that when you look at what's happened in the court, the defense has done a good job, and that right now things are looking good for Kyle Rittenhouse. What do you think?
They truly are. From the judge's initial, some pretrial rulings to his behavior throughout, but even from the first state witness, you look at that first state witness and it helped the defense, the first person who was videotaping, and all the way through, there's no question that there's an extraordinary amount of reasonable doubt here. The only thing the defense needs to do is make sure they get that jury to the jury box. The only thing the prosecution can hope is to focus on a couple of the jurors and see if there's a way to mistry the case by a hung jury, learn their mistakes from this trial if they get a chance to try it again.
You know, Ayesha, I wonder some of the colorful moments here involving the judge. I wonder what you think about them. We played one where the judge made a comment during lunch about it hopefully not being the Asian food that is out there in Long Beach Harbor. What did you think of that joke?
Well, that joke, outside the hearing of the jury, in many ways probably won't have an impact on the outcome of this trial. I've heard throughout this trial a lot of people speak to the fact that in his nearly 40 years of trying cases there in Kenosha, that it's his custom and his practice to operate in this way, to not do sidebars and to have a very open courtroom. I would say at the point where, in the presence of the jury, the judge appears to be impartial or appears to be partial and doesn't have the appearance of impartiality and in many ways seems to be favoring one side over the other, that causes some real questions and problems with people having confidence in the overall outcome of the case. I say that primarily because, as we saw yesterday, this judge decided to open court by applauding essentially the defense's first witness for the day, Dr. Black, who was going to testify about the camera footage and the length of time it took for certain things to happen. In that moment where everyone's applauding for Veterans Day and he announces that Dr. Black is in fact a veteran and apparently the only veteran in the room, that really, I think, sends a strong message to the jury that this judge favors the defense, and in some ways he may end up being the head juror, even if he's not back in the deliberation room.
Yeah, what do you think, Mark?
Wholly inappropriate. The judge has got to maintain an impartiality, and particularly in a case like this with the social implications, the political implications, the suggestion by this judge that he's not going to allow politics into his courtroom would be great if he could actually accomplish it. But you can't, when it's imbued in everything that's happening, you can't make believe it's not there. And certainly he needs to be even more careful to be impartial. And I just haven't seen it. I like when a judge says you can't call victims victims until the crime is over. But you also can't call people arsonists and looters and rioters in the same breath. So it was frustrating to me, not as a defense attorney, but as someone watching a trial, knowing the rest of the country is watching it, it has to believe in the jury's verdict, whatever it is, that he really needs to be careful putting his thumb on the scales.
And all of this, Ayesha, kind of goes to the same point, which is if the judge in the court of public opinion, I mean, even if it's outside of what the jury sees, appears to favor the defense, and then you also have Kyle Rittenhouse's mom going on Fox News, the judge saying that this is not a political trial, it's really hard to agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. On the point of the political trial, he can't conflate sort of his desire for the trial not to be political and at the same time, take away the prosecution's right to attack the credibility or the motives of any particular witness based on, their political viewpoints or the agenda of a political party, if you will. This is really troubling, and I think in many ways, just regardless of if there's reasonable doubt here on the intentionality piece of this, it's going to cause folks to walk away questioning how an individual could go across state lines, illegally buy an AR-15, and carry it while purporting to be a medic on a particular night, and walk away without some severe consequences.
Ayesha and Mark, thank you so much. This is such an important case as the entire country watches, and we appreciate your perspective.
Thank you.